Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into a paper that caught our eye, and I'll admit the title's a bit of a mouthful, but bear with me. It's called KidneyTalk-Open, no-code deployment of a private large language model with medical documentation enhanced knowledge database for kidney disease.
Yeah, that title's quite the journey, huh? But don't let it scare you off. This paper is tackling a huge challenge in healthcare AI, making cutting-edge AI accessible to doctors without them needing, a computer science degree, especially in specialized fields like nephrology.
Exactly right. No more needing a PhD just to use AI to help your patients.
Right.
This paper describes KidneyTalk-Open, and it basically lets clinicians use AI right from their desktop, and no coding required, which is a pretty big deal, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, a game changer for sure. And they've addressed one of the biggest concerns in healthcare AI, patient data privacy. Everything runs locally, so no sensitive information has to be sent to the cloud.
Okay, that's pretty important these days. So before we get into the how, what exactly does KidneyTalk-Open do for these clinicians?
Okay, so imagine you're a nephrologist, right? You've got a patient with some complex symptoms. You could upload all their medical records, the latest research papers, even your own notes into KidneyTalk-Open. Then you just ask it questions in plain English like you would a colleague.
So things like, what could be causing these elevated creatinine levels? Or what are the latest treatment guidelines for diabetic kidney disease?
Exactly. And here's the really cool part. It doesn't just give you generic answers. It uses this system of multiple AI agents working together to find the most relevant and up-to-date info from everything you uploaded. Like you've got a whole team of AI assistants doing the research for you.
Wow, that sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Especially with how much new information doctors have to keep up with these days. It's almost like a personalized research assistant, always on and ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. But this level of sophistication didn't just, appear overnight. To really appreciate KidneyTalk-Open, I think we need to look at the history, how we got here.
Okay, so let's rewind a bit. Where did this story even begin?
Well, I think the roots really lie in two major advancements. The first is the rise of large language models, or LLMs. These are the brains behind things like ChatGPT. They can generate human-like text, understand complex information.
Right. Those are getting a lot of attention these days. But weren't those early LLMs more for, writing poems or summarizing articles? Not exactly life or death medical decisions.
True, they were more general purpose in the beginning. That's where the second big advancement comes in, domain adaptation. Researchers figured out how to fine-tune these LLMs on tons of medical text, basically giving them a crash course in medicine.
Ah, so like taking a brilliant student and making them a specialist.
Precisely.
Okay, that makes sense. But these specialized medical AI models, I imagine they're still super complex, need a ton of computing power to run.
Yeah, absolutely right. And that was a major hurdle. Not every hospital has access to supercomputers, and sending patient data to the cloud, well, that raises those privacy concerns again. That's where KidneyTalk-Open's focus on local deployment and open source models is so important.
Okay, so making this technology smaller, more accessible, more secure, how did they do that? What's the magic trick?
One key part is this technique called chunking and embedding. Imagine the AI breaking those medical documents down into smaller pieces of information and then tagging each piece with a sort of digital fingerprint.
Interesting. So it's not just storing the information, it's organizing it so the AI can actually search it quickly.
Exactly. And to make those searches super fast, they use a special kind of database called a vector database. Think of it like a super organized filing system.
Got it. Makes sense. So they've taken these powerful models, made them run locally, and come up with this really clever way to store and search medical knowledge. It was pretty impressive. But how do we know if it actually works?
Good question. They put KidneyTalk-Open through some rigorous tests. First, they gave it nephrology exam questions, the kind medical students stress over.
How did it do?
It aced it. Actually, it scored even higher than if they had just used the AI model by itself.
Wow, so it's actually learning from those medical documents and getting smarter. What about the second test?
So for this one, they compared KidneyTalk-Open to 3 other popular AI applications, the kind designed for medical information. The challenge: creating a treatment plan for a patient with diabetic kidney disease.
Okay, so a real-world clinical scenario, this is where it really matters.
Absolutely. And you know what? KidneyTalk-Open was the only one that tailored its treatment recommendations to different stages of kidney disease.
Which is a huge detail in real clinical practice, right?
Exactly.
So it's not just spitting out general info, it's understanding those nuances that matter for patients.
Precisely. It's taking all that knowledge and applying it in a way that's clinically relevant.
Okay, I'm convinced. This Kidney Talk Open system is a big deal. But how does it all fit into the bigger picture of AI in healthcare? Why is this research so important?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that this is a big step towards making AI in healthcare more accessible, more practical, and more trustworthy.
Right, it's not just a theory anymore. It's an actual tool that could really change how doctors practice medicine.
And it tackles some of the biggest worries around AI in healthcare. Data privacy, staying up to date with the latest knowledge, and making sure people who aren't, programmers can actually use it.
This is all really exciting stuff, but I think it's time to move on to our Novel Notions segment, where we look at the potential future of this tech. What are you most excited about?
Oh, there are so many possibilities. But one that immediately comes to mind is, there are so many, but one that really jumps out is combining KidneyTalk-Open with wearable health sensors.
Oh, interesting. Those are getting really popular, right? Like smartwatches tracking heart rate, fitness trackers for sleep, even those devices that constantly measure blood glucose.
Exactly. Now imagine all that data feeding straight into KidneyTalk-Open. It would be like giving the AI a constant stream of info about the patient's health in real time.
So instead of relying on those, occasional checkups and lab tests, the system is analyzing data 24/7, looking for any subtle changes, any early warning signs.
Exactly. And since it's also connected to all that medical knowledge, it could catch those problems way earlier than a human doctor.
That could be huge for managing chronic conditions like kidney disease, right?
Yeah.
Catch it early, you've got a much better shot at slowing it down, maybe even preventing serious complications.
Absolutely. It's a total shift, moving from reacting to problems after they happen to preventing them in the first place.
That makes a lot of sense. So less putting out fires, more stopping them from starting. But how would this actually work in practice?
Okay, so let's say you've got a smartwatch, right? It's tracking kidney function, things like filtration rate or protein levels in the urine.
Okay, pretty specific stuff, directly related to the kidneys.
Yeah. Right. And that data goes straight to KidneyTalk-Open, which is constantly analyzing it, comparing it to the patient's history, the latest research. If it sees even a small dip in kidney function, even before the patient feels anything, it alerts their doctor.
Wow, so like an early warning system for your kidneys. The doctor could step in early, maybe adjust medications or recommend lifestyle changes, and potentially stop a small issue from becoming a huge problem.
Precisely. This continuous monitoring could also be incredible for personalized medicine, too.
I've heard that term a lot, personalized medicine, but I'm not sure I fully get it. How would KidneyTalk-Open play into that?
Well, by analyzing a patient's data over time, their unique data, KidneyTalk-Open, could help doctors create treatment plans that are really tailored to that specific patient.
So not just general guidelines, but treatments that are optimized for each individual person.
Exactly. Let's say you have a patient with diabetes. KidneyTalk-Open could analyze their blood sugar readings, see how well they're taking their meds, all those data points.
And then use that info to adjust their insulin dosage or suggest lifestyle changes to help manage their diabetes and protect their kidneys.
Exactly. It's all about moving away from one size fits all and towards a more, data-driven approach that's focused on the individual.
That's a really exciting idea. It feels like we're on the edge of some major change in healthcare. Tech is empowering both patients and doctors to make better decisions.
Definitely. And speaking of empowering patients, there's this other direction that I find fascinating. Patient-facing applications of KidneyTalk-Open.
Oh, so not just for doctors anymore.
Right. What if patients could have a simplified version of KidneyTalk-Open, for themselves? They could upload their own records, ask questions about their condition, get personalized info and advice.
So like a virtual health advisor available 24/7. That can be really empowering, especially for people with complex conditions.
Exactly. It can help them really understand what's going on, make better decisions about their health, and feel more in control.
Of course, there would be challenges, right? Making sure the information is accurate, that people understand what AI can and can't do, when to see a real doctor.
For sure, absolutely. But the potential benefits, they're huge. Imagine someone newly diagnosed with chronic kidney disease. They're probably scared, overwhelmed, unsure what to do.
Having KidneyTalk-Open could help them navigate all that. They could learn about their condition, look at treatment options, even connect with others going through the same thing.
Exactly. A source of information, support, and empowerment. It could help them take a more active role in their own healthcare.
Now, all this talk about personalized medicine, patient empowerment, it's exciting. But I think it's also important to, acknowledge the potential downsides. What are some of the risks, the challenges we need to keep in mind?
Yeah, you're right. It's not all perfect. One thing that worries me is the possibility of people misinterpreting the information from Kidney Talk Open or even misusing it.
Right. It's not a replacement for a human doctor's judgment and experience. People could misunderstand the AI's advice, rely on it too much without talking to their doctor.
Exactly. And then there's the data privacy issue. Even though Kidney Talk Open is designed to keep data secure locally, there's always a risk of breaches or misuse. We need strong security, and people need to understand how their data is being used.
And we need to make sure everyone has access to this tech, right? Not everyone has the latest smartphone or fancy wearables.
That's a crucial point. We need to make sure Kidney Talk Open and any AI healthcare tools are accessible to everyone, no matter their income or how tech-savvy they are. Otherwise, we could actually make existing health disparities even worse.
That's a good reminder that tech, even when it's meant to do good, can also make things less fair if we're not careful.
For sure. We need to be aware of these challenges and really work to address them as we develop and use these AI healthcare tools.
So as we wrap up this part of our discussion, I'm curious. What's your overall feeling about the future of AI in healthcare? Are you optimistic, cautious?
I'd say cautiously optimistic. I think AI has the potential to completely revolutionize healthcare, but we need to approach it with a balance of, excitement and caution.
Excitement for the possibilities and caution to make sure it's used ethically, responsibly, and truly for the benefit of everyone.
Well said. It's going to be an interesting journey, that's for sure, and I'm definitely eager to see what happens.
This is all super interesting, but I think we need to take a step back and, think about what it means for the average person. What should our listeners be thinking about as we, head into this future with AI in healthcare?
That's a great point. I think the most important thing is we shouldn't think of AI as like this magic bullet that's going to fix everything overnight in healthcare.
Right. It's not going to replace doctors or make everyone perfectly healthy.
Exactly. It's a tool. A really powerful tool, but still, just a tool. And like any tool, it can be used in good ways or bad ways. It's up to us as a society to make sure it's being developed and used in a way that, fits with our values.
So we need to be thoughtful about how we bring AI into healthcare.
Yeah.
What can people do to, make sure that happens?
I think the most important thing is to stay informed, learn about these technologies, how they work, and, participate in those conversations about the potential benefits and risks.
Don't just accept the hype or the fear-mongering, right? Dig deeper, ask those critical questions, and demand transparency from, the companies developing these systems.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to speak up. Talk to your doctor, your elected officials, friends, family. The more we talk about these issues, the better we can make informed decisions about how AI is used in healthcare.
And another thing we can do is, advocate for policies that make sure AI is developed and used ethically.
For sure. We need rules to protect patient privacy, make sure data is secure, and address things like bias and transparency.
And make sure those policies are created with input from, all sorts of people. Patients, doctors, researchers, ethicists, the public.
Yeah, it's not just a technical issue. It's something that affects all of us. It's a societal issue. And, on a more personal level, I think it's important to remember that we still have a choice in this future with AI.
We're not just along for the ride, right? We can choose how we use these technologies, how much we let them influence our healthcare decisions.
Exactly. You're not powerless. If you're not comfortable with a recommendation that comes from AI, question it. Get a second opinion from your doctor, do your own research, and stand up for your own health.
Don't be afraid to push back. Ask for an explanation. Remember, you're the one in charge of your own healthcare journey.
Right.
And finally, I think it's important to stay, curious and open to the possibilities of what AI could do in healthcare.
Absolutely. We should be cautious, but we shouldn't let that caution turn into fear and stop us from moving forward. AI has the potential to change healthcare in ways we can't even imagine right now.
Imagine a world where AI helps us prevent diseases before they even start. Treatments that are perfectly tailored to each person, and healthcare that's accessible and affordable for everyone.
And that's a future worth working towards. And it's a future we can help create if we approach AI with, a good balance of caution and a sense of possibility.
Well said. And I think that's the perfect place to wrap up our deep dive for today. Thanks for listening, everyone. And remember, the future of healthcare, it's really in our hands. Let's shape it wisely.